This week's Parashat Pekudei is the conclusion of the construction of the tabernacle. The tabernacle has several names. It's either called the Ohel Moed, which is literally the tent of congregation. That's the way it's normally translated, even though it has many implications to it. Or it's called Mishkan. Mishkan means tabernacle. Or it's called Mikdash. Mikdash is sanctuary. The sages say that Mishkan is Mikdash and Mikdash is Mishkan, meaning that the sanctuary is the tabernacle and the tabernacle is the sanctuary. But the general name is Ohel Moed, the tent of congregation. So we should contemplate what these three names indicate. Obviously each name indicates something else. In the physical reality it indicates something unique, and also in our spiritual reality and service of Hashem, each of these names is very, very important, and each one means something special. Mishkan, sanctuary, comes from the word shachen, which is Shechina, just as it says at the end of this week's parasha, Ki shachan alav ha'anan, that the cloud of glory of Hashem descended and resided on the tabernacle. Because that's what tabernacle means. Tabernacle means that Hashem descends and resides in this place. So it can either be in the physical place or it can be in my heart. It says, V'asudi mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, I shall dwell in their midst. And it doesn't say in its midst, but in their midst, meaning that Hashem desires ultimately to dwell in our hearts. So that's the implication of Mishkan. What about Mikdash, sanctuary? Mikdash from the word holy or sacred, Kodesh. But Mikdash, just as in the same verse reads, V'asudi Mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, they shall make for me a sanctuary, and then I will dwell in that sanctuary, in their midst. Mikdash is that we devote and dedicate something to God, to Hashem. Bet Kedusha Lishmi, that's the way Rashi explains. Bet Mikdash is our service of making this sacred, of sanctifying this place, or sanctifying my heart, as we'll try to explain a little bit what that means. To sanctify my heart to be a dwelling place for Hashem. So Mikdash is our sanctification. Mishkan is Hashem's descent to reside and dwell in our midst. What about Ohel Moed, the tent of the congregation? So as we'll see, the tent of the congregation is actually an intermediate that connects these two extremes of Mikdash and Mishkan. The Targum Onkelos, which is the accepted normal Aramaic translation that we even read every week together with the text of the Hebrew text of the Torah, it translates Ohel Moed as Mishkan Zimna. It's a temporary tabernacle. It translates the word Moed in the sense of time, because the Ohel Moed, since we traveled through the desert, through the wilderness, 42 campsites, each time we had to take it down and then to put it up again, construct it. And even after the 40 years in the desert, when we entered Eretz Yisrael, it was in different places. It was temporary, because the real purpose and intention of HaKadosh Baruch was to build for him a permanent dwelling place, a home, which is the temple in Jerusalem. But the whole essence of this Ohel Moed, of this tent, was that it is a Mishkan Zimna, that it is a temporary dwelling place. It's put up, it's put down. Now, this understanding of the term, of the phrase Ohel Moed, as something which is time-bound, that's what it implies. Time-bound also implies that it's space-bound, because as we said, how is it time-bound? It's time-bound because every different space, and we have to take it from place to place as we're traveling in our lives. We're moving from place to place. And just like we move from place to place, every time we make a move, every time I make a move in my life, from one situation to another situation in my life, my personal life, I have to take down the tabernacle and then build it, put it up again. So this understanding of the tabernacle as being a temporary place, residence, a dirat arai, is the understanding of the tabernacle at the level of worlds, because time and space are world concepts. As the Baal Shem Tov says that there are three general dimensions of reality: worlds, souls, and divinity. Rashi explains in a different way what Oel Moed means. He says that Oel Moed is bet vad limavakshei Torah. It's a place to congregate. As we said, the normal translation in English of Oel Moed is tent of congregation. So that's what Rashi says. Rashi says that it's a place that the Jewish people comes to congregate. That's what the word Moed means. Because everyone agrees that Oel, the first word in the phrase, means tent. But the question is, what does the second word mean? Moed. So once more, for Onkelos, Moed means time and space. For Rashi, Moed means a place that we congregate, that souls come together to search for Hashem. The verse actually says, Mevakshei Hashem, to search directly for God. That's what this place is for, the tabernacle. Rashi says, Mevakshei Torah, because searching for God is searching through the Torah for God. What is the will? What does God want of us in our lives? So that's the way Rashi understands. This interpretation is the interpretation at the level of nishamot, of souls. But then there's another interpretation that some of the commentaries explain, many of the commentaries, that Moed means that Hashem himself has singled out this place to be the place that I come to speak with you, that I enter to speak with Moses. Once more, Moses represents all of the Jewish people, all those that come to search and look for our God sincerely, with all of their hearts. And Hashem says, this is my place to come to you, the Moed, because previously, previously it said that in any place in the camp of Israel that a Jew looks for me, I will come in that place and bless him in that place. But then Hashem chooses a specific place, that this is the place that I'm going to come and speak with you. It means that all of my dialogue and all of my communication with you is in this place. So it actually means that the word Moed is Hashem thinking and saying that I have singled out this place for myself to come to be with you. This is the interpretation at the level of Elokut, of divinity. So we see that this term, Oel Moed, has all three meanings to it: worlds, souls, and divinity. The previous two names that we discussed, Mishkan in general has to do with divinity, because it's Hashem himself, the Shekhinah, the divine presence descending into our midst. Mikdash means that we devote ourselves to construct a place for Hashem. That's milamata lamala. So it's definitely souls are constructing it. We are dedicating a place, that this place will be a place for Hashem. But Oel Moed is actually the union, the congregation, or the meeting place. The word Moed, the very simplest interpretation or translation is that it's a meeting place. And Oel Moed is that tent that God meets the Jewish people, meaning that the Mishkan meets the Mikdash. Once more, in our lives, what does this all mean in our lives in service of Hashem? Mikdash is that I devote my life to Hashem. That's what Mikdash, that's what sanctuary means. That I have decided to devote, to dedicate myself to Hashem, to Hashem's purpose in creation, which is to bring good to the world, bring redemption, bring Mashiach to the world. Mishkan is an experience that we experience God coming down in our presence, an experience of hashgacha pratit, of divine providence in every moment. every happening in our lives is a reflection of Hashem descending and being with us in our lives. That's Mishkan. Ohel Moed is the ability to meet, to dialogue, to talk back and forth. First of all, it implies that we have to congregate ourselves. We have to get our act together as a people. We have to all come together to look for God. And wherever we move, wherever we go from place to place, we have to take it down and put it up again. And then we have to come all together. And we have to look for God. And God said, that's the place that I am going to come and speak with you. Once more, it's a meeting place. It's a place to dialogue with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is the way to understand in our lives these three basic names of the tabernacle. The sanctuary is constructing, dedicating myself to Hashem. The Mishkan is realizing the experience of Hashem's presence and His descent into our lives. And the Ohel Moed is the dialogue with Hashem. And the point is that in order to establish that dialogue, it also requires congregation. It's a tent of congregation that all Mevakshei Hashem, all those that search for Hashem, come to this place. And Hashem also says, I'm going to come to this place, and that's where I am going to communicate with you. So may we all merit to be able to speak with Hashem as a people, as an individual, as a people together, to devote ourselves to Hashem and to experience Hashem in our lives.